The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in, even through your clenched nostrils. As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty, with your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting.
They do after 7 days.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him, the material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast, delicate and fragile. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots. Ceramic plate, zirconium dioxide, under the heel. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. We should keep a lookout for these species. The armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know. No, I think he had something precious underneath the clothes. They had to remove the jeans and shirt we found to get to it.
Nice. That makes sense.
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre.
Fucking talking about underpants.
It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. For a full set, about 4 years of wages. By catching, do you mean, let's not load...
What was that about the constabulary before? You need to push some buttons if you want to recruit the lieutenant in a conspiracy.
So they don't get shot in the foot? I think our extremities are...
Oops. Well, no one said it would work. Back to the...
That's for us to find out. My initial report on the area suggests he was a security guard. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
A small bell-like sound fills...
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones, like the scales of some ancient white monster, cracked and pearly. This feels dangerous. Are you sure? The stench fills your nostrils.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal!
You're going to pull his head off.
Do it, homo!
Stop obsessing about your sexuality, officer. What are you trying to achieve anyway? Why are you hanging on to that boot? Maybe we should concentrate on what's outside the boot and leave... There's no way you're getting them off. All the organic matter in his body...
You're sure there's a way to peel them off, but first the body needs to be down. And second, it would probably be better if the lieutenant wasn't around. All right then, you can pay the hostel bill in honor points. How many honor points have you collected?
Processing will take care of them. With the situation in the morgue, it will yield nothing. But we must pick our fights. Should we continue?
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard...
Industrial strength. The kind used for tying cargo to lorries. Yes, it looks like they used whatever was on hand, paying no attention to not incriminating themselves. I'm still approaching this as a lynching, yes.
No, you feel like it was something else. But what?
Yes, it often is. This belt worries me. It's not merely polyester, it's steel reinforced. This makes getting him down much more problematic than I had assumed. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch.
The cadaver hangs from the cog. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. His corpse is marked by stars, alcohol, and heartbreak.
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to...
As if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through personal choice. The principle of this filter remains unknown to you.
So am I.
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera.
This is the first time he openly...
I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter. Here, a souvenir. Don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper. As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his...
How should I know why you are squinting, officer? Oh.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins.
So, what do you think? I do. Most of them are post-mortem.
Stop talking and
He means you fucked him up good, Kuno! Fucked him up brutal-like!
I think he was upright immediately after death. Blood has gathered in his hands and the noose acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis here is in tune with the hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. I agree.
There are crow's feet in it.
Totally dead. Dabadoob-doob dead.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion.
the fuck he said.
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists. His eyes are milky white, and dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside.
I'm gone. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past. Way out in the west. The blue heart. Oh, that's good. Fuck it hard. Corpo the clan.
He means force. It'll work.
Do I remind you of someone? There you go. Look at that bright kid.
Feeling nausea, vomiting, tenderness or pain around the liver area, tiny red lines on the skin above waist level.
What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination.
Yeah, man! Don't be crazy! Inanimate objects and dead people can't...
He loves those. I'm a joke. Look at me. There is nothing funny about jokes either. A killer. A motherfucker. Go ahead, Coppo. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want... Coming right up, copperoonie, Rooney. This is getting upbeat now. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. No, you're not a Harry either. You're a motherfucker. That's who you are. Because you have loved it, me and Brother Copo. It was love all along. Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Looking at my face, motionless. Looking into my eyes. Standing here. Why are you investigating my murder? I am all you have. Then you truly lost it all, brother. Let the world drag it all away from you. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my... Of course. You have questions, don't come back later, Corpo.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good... The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting it. Someone else? You mean like the police? Someone like a paid garbage man? Or a cleaning crew? I have bad news for you. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees. I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appeared to be suspect in this case. It seems like a dangerous route to go down.
But what other options?
We are not getting him down already. Not getting him down is a task that's already accomplished. Sadly, it's not our...
How do you plan to get him down then? With social sensibility? Are you going to educate him?
Yes, we do.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot!
How? It absolutely will not, officer. That's not how
Yeah, now we're talking.
No miss!
The lieutenant is undecided. On one hand, he wants to shoot some gun. On the other, it's an awfully stupid idea.
What else can we do?
It's the ledger you found. Oh, and an incredibly cool piece of kitchen tissue is stuck to the back. It's still not what happened. Fuck this compartment. You should throw it away. The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and white boots.
Yes, we do.
He breathes out.
Oh yeah, do this shit! Fuck it up!
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said.
I'll blow his head off.
Take it!
Yeah, take the shot.
Silence. And produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements.
God damn it.
Fucking idiot!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have eyes on us.
Kuno's sorry too.
The lieutenant doesn't.
Remain collegial, officer. It was an honest mistake. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance. It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't...
They only have...
This is the sorriest pair of pigs.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana pointer! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno?
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your...
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss. Do it! Set me free!
You feel as though it would be dangerous to set this creature free.
Don't.
Do it! Put it right here, Mulka! Right here!
Intense shit, copper.
He waved his gun! It wasn't intense, it was pathetic! Or what? You gonna fuck me? You wanna fuck me, pig? Is that what this is about?
Your field of view narrows. The slow movement of the branch in the wind, and your...
Look, he's crying! You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty?
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Communism.
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. Then, the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Fuck you, Kurpale!
Ace is high.
The Ace is High, a custom invented by the aerostatic brigades during the revolution, is used to celebrate success. lieutenant takes a little hop to perform the customary salutation.
I knew these guys were
We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But the stench is getting bad. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. I need a little breather before... Yes, the 4 phases of a murder scene. 1. I can't say I'm fully satisfied with that part. We should search for prints, maybe. 2. Initial examination of the victim. We were pretty good in our efforts, and the autopsy will... 3. Field autopsy. This will not...
The fuck are they on?
Cops are gonna cut his...
4 and final, transport of the coroner's case to the district morgue. No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle an honor and a burden attached to your rank.
He is growing truly tired of it.
With shooting like that? Of course you are. Your station would not have assigned you to this case otherwise. I would suggest we interview Everhart and Joyce, the leader of the union and the Wild Pines rep. But we've already done that, so it's up to you, detective.
He trusts you have plenty of things in the task chain lined up. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. There are several footprints.
Yes?
The rotting man lies on his side with the lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Huh? You're misquoting me, Rooney. I said communism killed me. Love did me in. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself.
Come on, officer. You know what it feels.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Mundi is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Et puis descend, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. You must have me confused with the Copperpedia. You, sir, you are the Copperpedia.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity. I'll ask you when I need you to. For the most part, maybe I should handle the contact. That's right. Come on, officer. You know what
What you do know is
I hope we do. It's getting really late for...
the rotting man. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. The dead man stares in silence as you crack open. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
That's you.
the corpse is indifferent to your scribblings.
KK57.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case after himself.
And what would that make the alphanumeric? I do. KK57. Next, NA. Next, NA. Roughly 50.
Try 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Muindi. This is the pudgy mess of curdled meat. Looks neat.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly.
We're still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable.
KK 57 0503 081.
None. At least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's position or wounds post-mortem.
Don't overdo it. It's okay to be unsure. A silent nod. The lieutenant.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See?
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive.
The disappointment is palpable.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single, continuous tattoo, resembling a map of the night sky. It reaches from the assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet. The stench is suffocating. Strands of... There must be brilliantine in there. He's combed his hair back with oil.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs, consistent with stone.
Fucking low velocity! You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Talking shit about
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the...
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark.
See? My pig is...
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the holes. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there. Steady now. Like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia.
No! Let's get out and see!
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
We have a real museum here. Last item, hands. Hands are clean. No sign of a recent struggle. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corpo.
Central nervous system. I have nothing.
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with bare...
I think that may well be the moral of every story. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's...
Yeah, Jack, that...
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth.
No scream. No sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. It's hard. You taste stomach acid in the back of your throat. A contraction. Your throat pumps a little something from your stomach and into your mouth. You're forced to swallow, just to keep looking. Inside, you see darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there? Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt...
Brimming with cocaine.
Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling. Nothing. Just in case. Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity.
Has confessed to causing it at max.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man, beneath the description of...
Right. Next, a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible.
Why do you say that? Okay. Why don't you think it was fatal? Honestly, I'm not sure there weren't marks on his wrist. That part got blurry for me. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. It was an irregular field autopsy. We did not establish cause of death. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results, we were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described...
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe.
Now, you see, that worries me. You will die if you drink.
Please get yourself together. The lieutenant from...
I need a copy of that autopsy form. For processing.
I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something. An intricate web of blue line. It still kind of looks like a map of the stars in the... For you to discover. Someone closer to... Someone who knows about history could tell you. Gone. The man is The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent. They are swollen shut. Only the little one fits. The flesh changes shape as you bore in.
The fuck is he doing?
The thing you're looking for, it's not there. You pick it between your fingers. The mass feels large, very porous. The oral cavity is cold and moist. You're on the right track. The tongue moves freely in the cavity. The mucus of the mouth is slippery, fragile, even. Can you feel it? You're so close. Rip is a vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. An abrasion collar. This is what we're after.
Abrasion collar.
Kuno is silent. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
Yes, that's what this part is called. The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here? This man will never sleep again. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. The lieutenant answers with a sound.
Fucking cavity, see?
Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly, cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Ice-cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger.
Can you get to it?
There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium. The object that is in there stops just short of the skull, in the encephalus.
We have the makings of very...
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano.
Her voice is absolutely sizzling with excitement. You pick the object between your index and middle finger. It feels sharp, like metal. with your face twisting from the inside of the head feels cold and with a plop. Your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist.
Fucking beautiful!
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag.
A non-caliber rifle. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. No, you deserve it. We can log it later. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Avalanche high velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We can now fill in injury number 3. Ligament.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
Yes, and the belt around his neck. The hanging. Even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. I have had my doubts for a while now. There have been other signs too. Small things. We were right not to assign hanging as cause of death.
We didn't fall for it, he thinks. There's pride in there. There is, of course, the very real possibility he was both shot and hanged.
To put him out of his misery? It's possible, but it doesn't explain all the other dubious things here. Lack of struggle, primarily. I may be intellectually sloppy. Yes, we should take a closer look at.
This little thing could reveal much.
That's for us to find out. To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it. We put him in a bag and carry him to the holding. I would drive him to processing, but it's one more thing. This was really good work, detective. All right. I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands.